After Ikizulive or Ikizulive was revealed at the beginning of the year, I made a video analyzing the teaser and speculating on what's to come. Somehow, I managed to extrapolate 15 minutes of analysis based on one still image. Now, the project has officially begun, and today I want to take a look back at that video and see everything I got right and wrong. Obviously, the teaser itself is drastically different from the final project, but that doesn't mean everything they conveyed to us was a lie. Without further ado, let's get right into the retrospective. A brand new project, Ikizulive Love Live Bluebird, has just been announced at the conclusion of the Asia Live Tour, and I could not be more excited. Before getting into the teaser analysis itself, I took some time to justify the new project existing at all. To many, this was a big surprise. After all, this marks the 8th iteration of Love Live, or 9th, or 10th, depending on who you ask. However, after 15 years of Love Live, I personally was just waiting for this moment. Ever since Muse was first announced in 2010, we've consistently had a new main group announced every 5 years on the dot. Considering my points about the 5-year timeline, this group is still on track, but it's not what I expected to see at all. The groups released every 5 years seem to always be a main group of sorts, but this one breaks the formula in such a significant way that it feels more similar to projects like Niji or Hasu. I'm curious to see exactly how much focus they put on this group compared to the 3 others currently ongoing. Immediately, the fact the font is so drastically different from what we're used to tells us that this whole project is going to be a departure from the norm. This was absolutely true. With Ikizulive being some sort of Twitter ARG, it's clear that it's way different from what we've ever seen before. What's more interesting to me is that, although the main title is consistently pronounced Ikizulive, it has 2 completely different meanings depending on which spelling they use. The first title to be shown is the one that's written fully in Japanese. In this way, it reads as 2 words rather than 1. It basically means, being alive is difficult, club. The club part is particularly interesting, as the school club aspect of each Love Live generation is important to the plot. When it transitions to the katakana title, though, it loses the meaning of club completely, and instead becomes a pun that effectively translates to, being alive is difficult, concerts. This is still true in Japanese, but it seems that the localized version in English is Ikizulive, which unfortunately loses the double meaning on our end. The subtitle as well, Love Live Bluebird, is interesting. A bluebird is a living thing, which is unprecedented in a series that's only used broad concepts such as sunshine or superstar. One thing that's consistent in every generation after Muse is that they encapsulate a core theme alongside their title iconography. I'm a bit conflicted on this one. Honestly, now that we know it's taking place on Twitter, it seems like Bluebird might mean nothing more than a silly reference to the old Twitter logo, which is kind of hilarious, but also really annoying to hear after saying all this. I'm not sure at the moment exactly what the theme of Bluebird's gonna be, but it seems that each of the members has something going on to make their lives difficult. If that's the case, the entire premise of my analysis was wrong here, because they just straight up told us the theme in the main title. Life is difficult. So with that logic, Bluebird must represent the true theme of the main characters, and by extension the group's, arc. Of course, blue on its own connotates sadness or longing, as is clearly portrayed by the picture. However, the fact it's a bird in the title almost completely contradicts the sadness we've seen thus far. Birds represent many things, but not many are negative. What comes to mind for most is probably that of freedom. I actually think this might still be applicable. We will have to see what happens as time goes on, but the theme of Love High School does seem to be freedom in some way, shape, or form. They do not have uniforms, they don't have a physical campus, and their school lives seem to be decided by each student alone. Perhaps freedom will continue to be a main theme after all. Another thing that birds represent is, well, Love Live. In particular, bird feathers. The feather has always represented all of Love Live, not just one aspect, so to see it essentially claimed is a really interesting choice. It almost feels like this could be the culmination of all of the series' themes thus far. I love this theory still, but with it being such a departure, I have a hard time believing that this is going to be the culmination of the series. I guess only time will tell. One thing we can see, though, is her hair. And, oh my god, I might sound crazy here, but I think this hair is the key to everything I've said so far. The first thing I noticed is that her hairstyle is really reminiscent of Honoka's. The leader similarities don't end there. If you look closely, she also has an ahoge. That means she has both Honoka's tail and Chika's ahoge. So what about Kanon? It could be the length of the hair that represents her, but I'm more inclined to believe it's the bangs. That's like the part of Kanon's character design that gets pointed out the most. Scrunchie resembling Ayumu's bun, or her hair color being similar to Kaho's. It's clear to me through the combination of both the hair and the bird title that this new project is meant to be built on the themes of the past ones. This is definitely still true after seeing the final design, and I've seen other people on Twitter pointing this out since the release date. In fact, the connection to Kanon specifically is a lot stronger now than it was before due to the two little cowlicks on the side of her hair. I'm completely sure that this theory still holds water. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I do still believe the design choice was intentional. My first thought was to try and see if her uniform relates to a particular region's traditional styles, but we actually don't really get to see her uniform at all. This makes so much more sense now. Oh my god. She doesn't have a uniform. Maybe I should have guessed. I theorize that this story will take place somewhere in Hokkaido. This has been directly disproven. It is going to be in Tokyo, just like almost every other group in Love Live. Unfortunately, there's not too much else to be learned from this image. If we go back to the trailer itself, all we really get is this sad piano, and like, girl, we already know you're sad. We get it. Okay, so this seems as good a time as any to just make the comment, why did they choose to reveal the teaser in this way? It's such a crazy tonal shift from the real project. I'm really confused about this, and I'm really curious as to how this sad theming will tie into the full project in the future. We've already been told exactly how many members are going to be in the idol group. 8. So, obviously this was incorrect. We can say that right now, but I actually want to let this keep rolling, and you'll see why. And there is evidence for this number. It's actually found right within the title. In fact, the same information should have revealed to us that Liella was going to get 11 members all the way back when Love Live Superstar was first revealed. The key is with the birthday figures. Both Muse and Aqua have a set of figures where they stand on a set of letters that spells their title. Love Live for Muse and Sunshine for Aqua. In Aqua's case, the 2 exclamation marks is treated as one character, but I think the use of 11 characters in Superstar was intentional. In fact, back before the anime came out, I had made a post on my Instagram discussing why I thought the name was strange since the letters didn't align with the characters at all. That was 5 years ago now, and finally we know that I was wrong back then. They did align perfectly. And so, with that context, I really do believe this is being done on purpose once again. I just don't see why they would do it 3 times and not a 4th, you know? So yes, obviously the number 8 was incorrect, but the theory behind why I chose that number actually still holds up. The reason I got it wrong is because I based the number on the wrong title. I shouldn't have been looking at Bluebird, I should have looked at Ikizulive, or as it's officially localized, Ikizulive. That's exactly 10 characters. I'm a little sad that I didn't get the number right, but I think it's cool that this naming scheme still holds up to this day. So far, 4 out of 4 of the main project groups, or I guess 5-year timeline groups, have all fit within this trend, and I expect we will keep seeing them do this in the coming years. But Love Live is no longer shy about even numbers nor straying away from 9. We have Niji with 12, the School Idol musical with 10, the original Hasuno Sora with 6, and several duos. Even Aqua has 10 in the Yohane series if you count Lilaps in that one song. No matter what, I don't think the group is going to have 9 members. I do think it's kind of crazy now that the magic number 9 is effectively dead. There are more groups with different numbers now than there were with 9. This is the only time in the series' history, as far as I can remember, that the teaser has been given to us in portrait format instead of landscape. This might tell us that the story is going to be super focused on the main character, or that its scope is going to be smaller. I now think that this was done intentionally to signal the project primarily being done on social media, which was a cool little hint. I have to say, the art style is quite interesting. Upon further inspection, the art style is a lot more similar to the Liella art than any others. Liella has some weird-ass hands sometimes, man. The art is so stylized here that it's hard to imagine what it'll look like animated, but something like Superstar is likely. Aside from my claim that it was most similar to Liella, which I don't believe anymore by the way, I might as well give my thoughts on the new style. It seems that Love Live is now fully committed to doing a new art style for each and every project, which I'm not surprised about at this point. But personally, I'm still a Muse and Aqua truther. I really miss the old art. What we've seen so far looks nice, but it does feel a bit more generic than the old style, and it's a bit hard to get used to. I really miss Love Live having such a solid brand identity. I'm super biased, but it was genuinely my favorite anime art style of all time, and it is something that really drew me into the series initially. That being said though, the way we've seen the new art so far is very flat and standard, and I'm curious to see how they push it into more detail in the future. I don't know how much they'll do with full card style illustrations or important key art pieces, but based on the promo image, I do think it has a lot of potential. Anyways, I've gotten pretty off topic, but I just want to say one thing because I don't really know where else to put it. I kind of take issue with the fact that almost every single character is doing this weird off-center hips forward pose. A few are okay, but it's a little awkward looking at all of them together. No clue if I'm the only one bothered by this, but for some reason it really rubs me the wrong way. I'd like to see more pose variety in the future. I do expect it to be animated, by the way, following the trend that we get of the new groups every 5 years. So, that was a big disappointment, not gonna lie. I do appreciate what they're going for with trying something new out, but they haven't even posted animation on YouTube, including for their literal debut single. I genuinely don't mind there not being an anime, but seeing them shift between only still images like a low-budget animatic is disappointing, especially with the lack of detail in the art style. I don't think they could possibly have chosen an art style more friendly to animation, and I really hope they give us at least a few fully animated music videos soon. It would really help me actually connect to the characters to see them move and interact in their world. I'm sorry, I can't finish the video without saying this. Why the hell does she look exactly like Ruby from Oshinoko? Like, exactly like her. Okay, this one was silly, but I would say they've fixed this problem. So, final thoughts, the new project is way different from what I expected, and I'm really excited to see what they do with it. I'm still really confused why they decided to tease the project in the way that they did, but I hope they come back and tie it all together one day. The last thing I want to touch on, though, is this strange piece of info from the website saying that school idols don't exist anymore. I don't know how to feel about this, as I've been under the assumption for years that everything in Love Live is based on the real-life passage of time that the projects debut during. And this really throws a wrench in that theory. This info would mean that the last Hasu Love Live was the last Love Live ever, and that somehow the general population has forgotten the entire tournament existed within 1 year. I'm very confused about this, and I hope it gets explained soon. Once again, thank you all for watching, and I hope you liked this little retrospective. I've been very, very busy with school, so I haven't been able to upload lately, but I hope to do so soon. Next month, I'll be going to Japan and seeing the final leg of Liella's 6th Love Live, and, of course, I will be there for the Aqua finale Love Live, and I really would love to make a video about that, so I'll probably see you all in about a month. While I'm there, I hope there's a lot new information about Bluebird, or Ikizulive as I guess it's called. And if you want to hear my ongoing thoughts while I don't have time to make videos, make sure to follow my Instagram and Twitter pages. And of course, be sure to like and subscribe. Here's to a new generation of the franchise, and I'll see all of you soon.